Hey everybody, welcome back to Finding Ithaca. Today we're discussing the story of the Darkest Dark, that astronaut story we heard about Chris. Can't even remember his name at the moment. Maybe
Hatfield.
Hatfield. Thank you, Mr. Warley. We have Mr. Warley here to talk to us a little bit about the story, get some of his insight. He loves space. He's talked to me about some of his interests in that. So I want to hear from him today. So, Mr. Warley, thanks so much for joining us on Finding Ithaca.
Anytime.
Thanks for talking to our students. So, I love the era of the moon landings. I love that Florida was involved in that. The story is just absolute magic, and I just don't get the feeling like kids think it's like that big of a deal today. I feel like it's just like, oh, whatever, land on the moon, no big deal. We've seen it on the movies how many times, so tell me, why was it a big deal?
Well, I think that's a great question. And I agree that maybe in today's world, it's so easy to see something like going to the moon. You can see it in one day. You might see it on your phone, on a computer, and on a TV. It seems like nothing at that point. So I love this question. So to think about this, we're at a really great time because we haven't been to the moon and it's been 50 years, more or less. And what's even more exciting about that is we're going back to the moon, hopefully by the end of this year, 2021, we're trying to go again. But as far as the question you've asked too, it's just think about that. Any picture or anything that you're seeing of astronauts on the moon, it's not new. It's really, really old.
Yeah.
So this idea of going to the moon and learning from it, it's something that's probably never escaped humanity. Not just the last 50 years or the last 5 years, but probably the last 5,000. So whatever we learned from going to the moon before, we know now, and we can't wait to learn more, I think.
The cool thing for Floridians is we have like something in our backyard is the Kennedy Space Center. I mean, I went there, I've been there 2 times recently within the past 10 years. But I went one time with a school group and we got to like lay and like sleep over under the Saturn V rocket. We all had sleeping
I've been wanting to do that.
Yeah, it was really neat. And we got to hear astronauts kind of talk to us about their experiences up in space. And it just kind of like made it real for me, And it's so cool to go up there and to see all that stuff. Have you been to the
I have been, but I haven't been since I was a kid. I grew up here in Florida though. So right here, just in Palm Beach County. So I totally agree. There's this feeling that we have this closeness to it that not a lot of people get. So we're really lucky. And today we know when launches are happening, and they launch rocket ships all the time now. And if we're lucky enough to know when it happens and we can see it, it's one of my favorite things on earth to do. It's not only just watch that. I love to be alone and just kind of watch it and experience that. But I also love to share that with my neighbors or anybody walking by and say, hey, look, and you can all kind of be like, for just a few seconds, it just kind of, you're just like, wow. Right?
It's amazing. I mean, it's 3 hours away from us, and yet you can still see it. It's really cool how, where I lived in North Carolina, you couldn't see it. It's like,
yeah, right?
So it's neat to be close to where this is all happening and get a little excited about it. So, all right, Star Wars or Star Trek? What's your favorite?
Star Wars all the way more exciting.
All right, cool. How far do you think mankind will go? Because I mean, we're thinking about going to Mars next.
Wow. Another great question. Something I have to admit, I do think about that on a regular basis. I do. And I think a lot of the ideas of what our greatest scientists are thinking of now are, okay, how can we get to Mars? And in about, what's today? Today's February 2nd. In about 16 days, February 18th, we're going to land on Mars, some new robots and rovers. But of course, we want to learn about that. But the point, we want to learn what's on Mars. We want to learn so maybe we can live there. And maybe one day we want to learn about moving to another planet. So how far can we go? Well, here's what we know, that we can't go to Jupiter or Saturn, Neptune or Uranus because they're gas, right? There's too much gas there. Atmosphere won't be good for us.
You go right through it.
Yeah, right? You go right through it. You're never going to land, right? Or you'll burn up before you get there.
Yeah.
But we got to be laser focused. Everybody's thinking Mars right now. It has a very similar terrain to Earth. So that means we got mountains, and there's used to be water there, so you could see riverbeds. So we think Mars is the place to go for now.
Cool. Mr. Warley, you showed and started telling me a little bit about some of your interests in space. What do you want to tell us about that?
Okay, so I want to tell you guys what really got me into it, and it might not be what you think. So maybe one day you might realize that you have an interest in something that didn't really stand out to you at first. I love being outside. Day or night, doesn't matter. I'm an outside kind of person. I like to play sports. I like to go camping. All of that being outside time, it's given me a lot of time at night. And only recently, the last 5-10 years, I started looking up and seeing the stars. So for years, I just felt that really comforting, and it was something I could do by myself, which I love my family very much, but I think we all need a little healthy amount of alone time and to just think about things. So I was using space for that. It was kind of like, it was just a way for me to calm down and just think about my own thoughts. But then I noticed that the stars, I noticed that the stars had different colors. And it just, for years I looked at it and I knew that. And then finally I said, I need to know why. Why are they different colors? And from there it hit the races, right? It was, you have different temperatures, different sizes, some are closer, some are further, and all of that just, it was something that clicked for me. So it's a hobby, and it's, and I keep it fun. I never make it be work for me. It's always something that I'm going to make it as fun as can be and as relaxing as possible. So when I look up, I'm seeing things, right? We talk about stars are made of hydrogen and helium, but I'm not always thinking about that. I'm thinking about, maybe I'm just thinking about, man, this feels nice, right? And man, what did people think about 1,000 years ago when they saw that same star that I'm looking at right now? So for space, it's very scientific, but I think it's like everything else. It doesn't have to be what it looks like. It can be whatever you make it. So that's what it is for me, certainly.
Cool. Very nice. I have a curveball question for you. I just thought up, and I wonder your thoughts on it. What do you say to the student that says that the moon landing was all faked? Do you have an answer for that, or do you want to think about that more before you answer? Or?
Okay, so here's what I want to say to that. So we're in school, so I need to give an academic answer to that. And I think that's the best thing for not just students, but just anybody. You guys know your surroundings, so that's the way that you need to handle yourself when things that you're trying to figure out come up. So to look at that, I want to say that we trust NASA, our space organization, and I'm going to take the information that they give us. So NASA tells us, here's astronauts on the moon, and this is the year they did it, the rockets they flew in, and I'm going to believe that, and I'm going to believe them that they went to the moon and they have these rocks, and one day I want to have one of those, so that I can believe it. And I can research this myself so that I can prove it to myself. If you want to look this up, or you're doing some research and you say, you know what, this doesn't add up to me, that's okay. Maybe you need to do more research, or you want to talk to another expert or talk to another teacher. I'm not here to tell you that you're thinking wrong. I'm here to tell you how you can find the answers you're looking for. So if you want to say that we didn't go to the moon, show me a source better than NASA.
Prove it. You know, and I think a lot of times it's easy to throw out like a little soundbite clip of, oh, it's fake, it's not, you know, and to just throw that out there without anything to back it up. And, you know, the NASA scientists are brilliant minds. They have been working on this for decades upon decades, and they've made this a fine-tuned science. You know, you watch the rocket go up in the sky, you have everybody that's there, and I think it doesn't matter the amount of evidence, there's always going to be somebody that's going to say, oh, it's fake, it's not real. You know, there's going to be doubters, there's going to be unbelievers, and I think, you know, it's just important to look at the full picture. And to talk to the people that actually went, and to see in their eyes, look, they're telling the truth. You know, this is real. You know, and so anyway, but I just think I'm going off on a rabbit trail, but I think it's amazing what we as Americans have accomplished, and to find pride in the fact that we were first on the moon, and we have a flag that's planted right there, right now. The footprints are still there. They're unmoving because there's no wind up in space. I think that's incredible. And it's also incredible to have NASA send rockets past the moon and can actually see satellite pictures of where the rocket landed, where the moon lander's still there. You just can't fake that. So
No,
anyway.
it's amazing. I agree with you 1,000%, and I love that you said it. I just want to say one thing. These NASA scientists, they're not just putting rockets or people on the moon, they're protecting us. So I believe them. Anything they say, they're protecting us from other things hitting us. They
Sure.
know what's going on out there, and
Yeah.
just like you said, they're the smartest people around. So I trust them.
Well, thanks so much for talking with me today, Mr. Warley. It was a pleasure.
Anytime, anytime. Thank you for having me.
All righty. Well, you have a good one, and you can say the catchphrase you always say, catch you next time.
All right, catch you next time.
All right, very good. See you next time.